found this axe at a local flea market for $5, and I could tell that it had good DNA. And the handle, while super dry and almost looks dry rotted, was actually pretty solid. Just needed a little cleaning up. The axe head had a really nice shape. I could tell it was made by a axe manufacturer of one sort or another. The head had been all painted blue. No maker's mark was identifiable on there. So I decided to give it a shot, take it home, clean it up, see what we got. This is first step, which is taking the axe handle off of the axe head. Put a couple screws in the old wedge, put the screw heads in the vise, and then pried out the wedge. Worked really nice on this. Helped that everything was super dry and a little contracted. Using some axe head drifts to get the axe out there. Now it's time for cleaning up the axe head. Use a wire wheel on an angle grinder. It's about the most quick and effective method I've found for removing rust and paint and cleaning up an axe head. My camera actually stopped working on me halfway through that, where I actually was able to reveal a maker's mark, a stamp. I showed it to the camera, but it was never recording. Bummer. I'll show you at the end who it was. So this is taking some files and cleaning up the axe eye, and then I was cleaning up my file with a little file brush there. Onto the handle, I'm using my oscillating belt sander / spindle sander. This thing is amazing for handle work. I'd recommend it to anybody who works on axe handles. I'm being careful not to take off too much wood. It actually is coming off quite easy, but it's just very dry wood. I don't know what exactly it is. It's probably hickory or ash. It's a good quality handle, shaped nicely. I think it's the original, but I'm not sure. As I'm doing this, I'm revealing another surprise, which is that the axe handle, while sitting around for however many decades, had some fungus growing in it and developed some spalting. Creates a nice pattern to it. Usually means that that piece is sort of dry rotted a little bit, a little punky, but the handle's not too bad, but it retains some of that spalting appearance. It's actually really cool. I was super happy to find this. I was hoping it wouldn't break on me or I wouldn't find any weak spots in it, and I never did. Here I'm going through hand sanding, going from 100, or I think I started at 80 grit, worked my way up to 220. Found this awesome little hand, blower, blowing off the bench. Works super good. Recommend it to anybody who does things in the garage, accumulates dust. It's awesome. So now fitting up a wedge. Decided to go with a patterned custom wedge, shaping it to the eye so it sits down in there nicely. Can't shape a wedge without having it fly across the room on me at least once. And there it is. Really beautiful launch, good rotation, nice trajectory, good distance, 10 out of 10. Just doing a final little fit up there. I had to shave a little off the handle because I wanted to set the head a little farther down on the shoulder there, and the wedge wouldn't quite reach between, in the kerf far enough down, so I had to cut off some of the top of the tongue of the handle. Just hanging the axe here, doing a little test fit, getting it squared up. As I'm looking at it here, I noticed a little bit of a forward lean. I was trying to adjust that. Actually, I'm examining it and realizing I don't have enough axe handle going north and south, front to back, which means I need to do a cross wedge. So I cut a kerf going crossways there so that I can expand the handle in the eye so it fills up the space better going front to back. The normal wedge expands the top of the eye, sort of makes an hourglass shape, and it expands side to side. That cross wedge front to back. Here I'm showing you a bit of a mashed mess, which is oftentimes what happens when you're driving the wedge in, but it turned out pretty good. Usually it's a mess, you cut it off, looks great. That's exactly what happened. But I did find a little space, meaning the wedge needed to be a little bit longer, so I'm adding a little micro wedge. I'm creating a little space for it right now, adding some glue, adding a little piece of walnut micro wedge to drive the front of the wedge a little more forward, just to take up the full space. Cut it off, voila. Looks good. Just trimming it up there. It's always one of the key features of a custom axe, or rehang for a collector type axe, is the wedge job. How well the handle and the wedge sort of take up the eye of the axe. It needs to be nice and neat. Put a little bit of a bevel around the outside edge just so it doesn't split. Get it nice and sanded. I like to take the top of the axe there where the wedge is, if it's got a fancy wedge, up to about a 220 just to reveal the grain. Really nice. Pretty happy with how this turned out. There's just a little bit of space in the back of the eye there, just because I couldn't quite get that handle to separate, fill up that space entirely, but very small detail. Just getting a little edge put on the axe head, starting at about 120 grit, working my way up to 800. It'll be nice and sharp, a little bit of polish. I didn't go all the way to a mirror polish. It's not a huge bevel on it because it's got a pretty thin profile. At this point, it's mostly done. A couple more touches to the belt there, and we're done. Ready for some linseed oil. Go oil her up and take some glamour shots. All right, the final product and the big reveal. Beautiful spalted handle, all refinished, the whole thing restored to its former glory. There you go, SAW, 3.5 pound Wetterlings. SAW stands for Sven Axel Wetterlings, one of the founding members of the Wetterlings Forge in Sweden. It's a beautiful axe, cleaned up really nice. Hadn't seen much use at all. I'm happy to have it. And that handle is really cool. Some before and afters here. I'd say this turned out really well. Neat picture of the handle there. Love that profile. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.